Did you think the universe is silent? Well, it is not. In this video, I will show you the 19 most scary sounds in space. All of these sounds are real and are captured by NASA and other space organizations. Let me show you an example of what you can expect. When a star runs out of fuel, it doesn't just fade away quietly, it fights against its own collapse. White dwarfs, the remnants of dead stars, still send out radio waves, almost like a whisper from beyond the grave. Scientists have captured these signals and converted them into sound, revealing a strange, pulsing hum, as if the dying star is trying to speak one last time. It's an eerie reminder that even in death, stars have a voice. But if white dwarfs whisper, some space objects scream. Did you think this one was weird? Wait until you hear the ones that I saved for the end of the video. When some stars die, they don't just shrink into white dwarfs, they collapse into neutron stars, forming pulsars. These dense, spinning remnants shoot out beams of radiation like cosmic lighthouses, creating a rhythmic pulsing sound when recorded. It's unsettling to listen to. The steady, mechanical beat almost sounds like a heartbeat, except it belongs to a dead star. Some pulsars spin hundreds of times per second, producing a rapid, hammering sound that makes space feel far from lifeless. But pulsars aren't the only stars sending out eerie signals. Some stars don't pulse, they sing. Make sure to watch this video all the way to the end, as the most surprising sounds are the most far away, and thus in the end of the video. We don't hear it from Earth, but the sun is constantly vibrating. These vibrations create a deep, droning hum, like the endless ringing of a giant cosmic bell. Scientists converted these vibrations into sound, and the result is a low, pulsing noise that seems to stretch on forever. This deep space song reminds us that even though the sun gives us life, it's still a massive, burning star, one that could easily destroy us if it ever lost its balance. But the sun isn't the only celestial body making noise. Some planets have their own terrifying sounds. Jupiter is the biggest planet in our solar system, and it has one of the strangest soundscapes. NASA's Juno spacecraft recorded electromagnetic waves from Jupiter's auroras, and when converted to sound, they turned into an eerie series of whistles, clicks, and moans, almost like a ghostly choir floating through space. The sounds are so high-pitched and unnatural that they don't even seem real. It's as if Jupiter itself is whispering in a language we can't understand. But if Jupiter whispers, Saturn roars. If you thought this was creepy, wait until you hear what's coming next. It only gets more weird from here. Saturn may look peaceful with its famous rings, but it produces some of the most intense and unsettling sounds in the solar system. The Cassini spacecraft picked up powerful radio waves from Saturn's atmosphere that, when turned into sound, became a deep, oscillating howl, almost like a growl from a giant, invisible beast. The sound gets louder and then fades, almost like something is breathing in the darkness. And just beyond Saturn, another one of its moons is making sounds that are just as eerie. Saturn's icy moon, Enceladus, is covered in a thick crust of ice, but underneath there's a hidden ocean. When Cassini flew through one of its geysers, it recorded strange hissing noises, almost like steam escaping from an old broken pipe. These sounds suggest that Enceladus might have an underground ocean that could possibly support life. But if life does exist there, what could it sound like? Perhaps something is already whispering beneath the ice. This next sound will send chills down your spine. Listen closely and try not to get too scared. Comets are often seen as harmless, icy travelers, but when the Rosetta spacecraft approached Comet 67P, it detected something bizarre, a rhythmic clicking and humming sound coming from the comet itself. The sound was so unusual that scientists described it as singing. But what makes a comet sing? Is it just natural vibrations, or could it be something stranger? Whatever the cause, it's not the only thing singing in space. Venus is often called Earth's evil twin because of its thick, toxic atmosphere and scorching temperatures. When NASA's Parker Solar Probe passed by, it recorded a strange, high-pitched whistling sound, unlike anything heard before. Scientists believe it's caused by interactions between Venus's atmosphere and the sun's solar wind, but the way it fluctuates makes it sound almost like someone is calling out. But some sounds from space don't just call out, they howl. By the time we reach number 1, you might never want to listen to space sounds again. NASA's InSight lander captured the first direct sounds of Martian wind, and the result was unsettling. Instead of the soft breeze we hear on Earth, the wind on Mars produces a deep, rumbling howl, almost like a distant storm that never stops. Listening to it feels like standing alone in a vast desert, with an endless wind sweeping across the barren land. But Mars isn't the only place with haunting winds. As Cassini approached Saturn, it passed through the planet's bow shock, the region where the solar wind crashes against Saturn's magnetic field. The result? A sudden, jarring burst of sound, like a cosmic explosion. It's a reminder that space is filled with invisible forces clashing with each other, creating sounds that seem like they belong in a horror movie. But what happens when we leave our solar system? Things get even stranger. Voyager 1, the first human-made object to leave the solar system, has been sending back data from interstellar space. When scientists converted its recordings of plasma waves into sound, they heard something unexpected, a low, moaning noise that rises and falls, almost like the breathing of a giant creature. It's as if space itself is alive. Voyager 2 flew past Uranus in the 1980s and picked up strange, rhythmic radio waves. When converted to sound, they resembled an eerie series of whispers and echoes, like ghostly voices trapped in the planet's magnetic field. These sounds are still not fully understood, making Uranus one of the most mysterious planets in our solar system. But space doesn't just whisper. Sometimes it screams. NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory translated data from a supermassive black hole into sound, and what scientists heard was terrifying. A deep, echoing roar that pulsed across millions of light years. It's a sound so deep that humans can't even hear it naturally. It had to be sped up to be audible, but when you listen to it, it feels like the universe itself is groaning. Not all terrifying space sounds come from planets or black holes. Some might come from lost souls. In the 1960s, 2 Italian amateur radio operators, the Giudica Cordiglia brothers, claimed to have intercepted chilling recordings of a Soviet cosmonaut calling for help. The distorted audio contained heavy breathing and a faint, desperate voice in Russian. According to the brothers, the cosmonaut said, "I'm hot, I'm burning," before the signal cut out. No official records confirm that such an event ever happened, but the eerie recording remains a mystery. If it was real, it would be the sound of a doomed astronaut perishing in space. But if that's disturbing, what about a sound that's been echoing through the universe since the dawn of time? Everything in existence began with the Big Bang, and believe it or not, we can still hear it today. The cosmic microwave background, CMB radiation, first detected in the 1960s, is the oldest sound in the universe. When translated into audio, it becomes a deep, unchanging hum, a remnant of the chaotic explosion that created everything. Listening to it feels like hearing the birth of the universe itself. But if that's the sound of creation, what about destruction? There's something deeply unsettling about space probes that just stop talking. Over the years, NASA has lost contact with multiple spacecraft, including Beagle 2, Pioneer 10, and even the Soviet Mars probes. One of the most haunting examples was Opportunity, the Mars rover. After 15 years of exploring the red planet, it sent its last transmission in 2018. "My battery is low and it's getting dark." It was a heartbreaking farewell from a machine that had become almost like a friend to scientists back on Earth. But compared to the sounds we've heard so far, what comes next is even more terrifying. Even our own planet produces strange noises. NASA has recorded something called chorus waves, a series of eerie, high-pitched whistles that sound like a chorus of alien voices. These sounds come from interactions between Earth's magnetic field and solar radiation. When you hear them, it's almost like listening to a group of ghostly beings singing from deep space. But some sounds aren't just unsettling, they feel downright dangerous. Black holes are the most terrifying objects in space, and when NASA translated X-ray data from one, they found something horrifying. The sound? A deep, pulsating roar, like a slow, menacing growl. This wasn't a sound from inside the black hole. Nothing escapes once it's inside, but from the violent interactions of gas swirling around it. It's one of the deepest sounds ever recorded, and it feels like a monster lurking in the dark, waiting to consume everything. But there's still one sound that beats them all, the most unsettling, inexplicable sound in space. In 1977, a radio telescope in Ohio picked up something nobody has been able to explain. It was a brief, powerful radio signal coming from deep space, lasting just 72 seconds.
It was so strange that astronomer Jerry Eamon wrote "wow" next to it in the data, giving the signal its famous name.
To this day, scientists have no idea what caused it. Some think it was a natural space phenomenon. Others believe it might have been a message from an unknown intelligence. Whatever it was, the signal never repeated. It remains the biggest mystery in space sound history. Let me know what you think of this in the comments below.